Hey, and welcome back to our series on a retrospective about the Xbox 360. If you haven't watched the past 3 videos, I think, go check those out. I'll link them in the description. I'll also put some tags up here to the first one. And today we are finishing up looking at all those models, starting with the Xbox 360S. In 2010, Microsoft gave the 360 its first major facelift in the form of the S model, or lovingly called the Slim, because it is significantly smaller and slimmer than the original models. It also came packed with the brand new Valhalla motherboard. This model looked sleeker, ran much better with half the power consumption and significantly quieter fans, had much larger storage in the form of internal hard drives, and integrated Wi-Fi. It's weird to think that this was technically the first Xbox 360 with integrated Wi-Fi. Before that, you either had to plug in an Ethernet cable or buy an actual Wi-Fi adapter, which, weird. The flagship Slim model had this glossy black finish with this chrome trim around the edges, and it also came with a 250 gigabyte internal hard drive. Now these are much more compact and, honestly, easier than the slap-on hard drives that used to go on top. Now, you just flip your console over to the bottom and there's this little switch here that you just push to the side and it reveals your internal hard drive bay. You just slide that puppy in, boom. Now these internal hard drives offered much more storage than the external ones. I mean, the base one that came with the console being 250 gigabytes, as opposed to what the Xbox originally started with like a 20 gigabyte. Yeah, that's wild. There was also a second model that ran alongside this, similar to the Core and Pro models, this puppy right here. Now this guy is exactly the same as this model, except has a matte black finish and a black trim instead of that chrome. The only difference being this one did not come with an included hard drive and only had 4 gigabytes of internal memory integrated on the motherboard. Along with the fancy new look, this line also did away with arbitrary names like Pro and Core and Elite and Arcade. Microsoft opted to brand each individual SKU or retail configuration of the Slim based on the included internal memory size or included hard drive size. This led to significantly less distinct retail configurations and, honestly, in my opinion, made things much more easier on the consumer. Now, the biggest differences we've yet to cover between these and the previous models is now the lack of memory unit ports. So you can no longer use those little memory card substitutes, but you do have more USB ports, and you can use USB drives or external hard drives to plug directly into the USB port, and you can use those to expand your memory as well. No more external hard drives, we only have that internal hard drive bay. But fun fact, if you sort of destroy the casing that those original Snap-on hard drives are in, you can use those internal hard drives. They can fit inside these bays. It's a little destructive, but I mean, if you really didn't want to buy another hard drive for a different Model 360 and keep all your safe games, I guess you could do it. These also featured a proprietary port for the Xbox 360 Kinect sensor bar. That's right, the S model was released alongside everybody's favorite accessory to hate, the 360 Kinect. Now this thing was kind of cool for what it tried to do in bringing the sort of motion control and family-friendly atmosphere that the Wii had over to the 360. I mean, the games, man, they all suck. No one wants to play Skyrim with Kinect controls. Regardless, multiple different retail configurations included these Kinect sensor bars, and I'm not really going to go over significant prices between those because it gets murky because there's no longer, names delineating. It's just the hard drives and if it had a Kinect or not, whatever. After the first year on the market, Microsoft announced that they would be streamlining production on the S models, no longer doing these glossy black finishes and the chrome trim for the larger 250 gigabyte hard drive including models, instead opting to just use the matte black models and just include a 250 gigabyte hard drive for more expensive retail configurations. Made things easier on them and also gave everybody the same console. Personally, I think that was the right choice because consoles like these that have that very glossy finish, they get really scuffed up. I'm sure you can see that in the light. Yeah. If you own a Wii U, you know what I'm talking about. These matte models don't scuff up nearly as bad, and honestly, I just think the matte is a bit classier. The 250 gigabyte hard drive included SKU retailed for $299.99 upon release, whereas the 4 gigabyte internal memory retailed for $199.99. At those price points, replacing the Elite and Arcade respectively. Now, special editions of this model are plenty, the first of which being Halo Reach. This had a metallic silver finish with a cool Halo Reach inspired deco. It was really cool, but when hitting the power button and the disc tray, which are now sensors and no longer actually like pushy buttons. They like sense and they go ding. Well, now they don't go ding, they make the Halo Reach noises. Pretty cool. It came with 2 matching controllers, a wired black headset, and a physical copy of the game. The next special edition was a metallic red and black splatter deco for Gears of War 3. That just looks so cool, doesn't it? And continuing that trend of the custom sound effects, it also has Gears of War inspired sounds for the power and disc track. Came with 2 matching controllers, a wired headset, a physical copy of the game with a download code for additional content, and a 320GB hard drive, which is the largest to date. After that, we got the Star Wars R2-D2 Connect Bundle Special Edition. Now, this thing is just my favorite. We did a video on it. Go check that out. I absolutely love that console. It had an R2-D2 inspired deco, which made the R2-D2 noises upon power and disc tray, and it also came with a metallic gold C-3PO controller that had like his belly wires on there. That was pretty cool. It also had a blue startup ring instead of the standard green, which pretty cool. Now, this special edition did only come with the 1 controller, but this time it came with a white Xbox 360 Connect, as well as 2 games, Star Wars Connect and Connect Adventures. It also came with that 320GB hard drive and a wired black headset. This one is probably my favorite special edition 360. It's Star Wars, dude. Coming in at second to last, we have the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 Special Edition that had this cool Modern Warfare 3 deco. It's like gunmetal. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's cool. There's a picture of it. Had custom sounds, 2 matching controllers, a wired black headset, and a 320GB hard drive. All the bells and whistles. Now, the last special edition Slim was released alongside Halo 4. This one being a transparent blue case with cool silver Forerunner-y deco. Had custom sounds, 2 matching controllers, 320GB hard drive, and a wired black headset. It also had a copy of the game with exclusive DLC. This one also had that blue light-up ring, which is still pretty neat to see them continuing that. As much as I love that green ring, it just matches the aesthetic of the console better. Now, the Slim had a relatively short lifespan in comparison to the original model 360s. Now, despite their constant motherboard changes, they physically remained quite the same from 2005 all the way up to 2010, when the Slim was released. But our next 360 model comes only 3 years later in 2013. And that took the form of the Xbox 360E. Not Elite, some people will call this Elite, maybe the E stands for Elite, but it's just the E, because there's already the Elite. Now, in 2013, Microsoft announced the E as the replacement for the S as the main flagship 360 console. This model featured an appearance more in line with the upcoming Xbox One. It featured a more blocky, rectangular look with this 2-tone color scheme, as well as that new sleek, modern X logo instead of the beveled, glowy. It's clean, it's crisp. I don't know, nothing will beat the original X logo for me. It was just so cool. Now, this model was pretty much exactly the same as the Slim, right down to the pricing. The only real differences being it's HDMI only, a few less USB ports, and the power supply is now different because they had different power supplies every single time. If you want to know more about power supplies, check out our setup video because I go over all the differences between the different models and the different power supplies. That's a video in its own right. But yeah, this was the last 360 model ever made as Microsoft was transitioning over to the Xbox One and next-gen gaming. This guy was available all the way into 2016. This thing was still available when Pokemon Go came out. It's weird to think about. Now, there was only one special edition that the E ever received. This is known as the Xbox 360 Special Edition Blue Bundle. It's a mouthful. It was available only at Walmart and Microsoft stores in the US. Now, this had a cool solid blue with turquoise accent shell with a matching controller and a matching 500GB hard drive. This model came with digital download codes for Call of Duty Ghost and Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and not actually physical games, which is stinky poo-poo, but I guess it's still 2 games. It also came with a 1-month free membership to Xbox Live Gold, and it was priced at $250. The 360 had a long and varied lifespan, extending even 2 years into the next-gen model that was released to replace it. Personally, there are so many different models of 360 that you can really find one that just speaks to you the most, whether it be a special edition R2-D2 or a cool sleek rectangle or the big chunky hourglass model. The 360 has a place in all of our hearts here at Nostalgic Video Games, and is one of the reasons we're doing these videos, one of the reasons we love suggesting the 360 to people. Like I said in that very first video, it is a fantastic starter console if you're jumping into gaming for the first time on your own, or want to get a console for your kids to start exploring gaming themselves. All of the consoles we've gone over in this video and the previous video are available, subject to availability, at our physical store Nostalgic Video Games, and soon our upcoming online store, shopnvg.com, where you'll be able to order almost anything we've got in store from the comfort of your own home. Let me know down in the comments which one of these 360 models you had growing up, which one you have now, or which one, I don't know, you've always wanted. Thanks for tuning in to the Nostalgic Network, and we'll see you next time.